Okay, so these are day 6 notes, and we're going to learn our fourth triangle congruence theorem, which is called the angle side. All right. In the warm-up, it says sketch an example of two triangles that have 3 pairs of corresponding angles congruent, but the triangles are not congruent. Okay. So I'm going to draw you 2 triangles. That have 3 pairs of corresponding angles congruent. Both have a 90, both have a 30, and both have a 60. However, these triangles are not congruent because they are not identical twins of each other. One is way bigger, meaning that its sides are bigger, making the triangle bigger, all right, but the angles are not. And so this is going to actually be a reason why we don't have the theorem angle for a congruence, because it does not ensure that the triangles are identical twins of each other. All right, it doesn't ensure that they're the same size. However, what these triangles are that the triangles are what we call similar. Similar have the same shape, just not the same size. Okay. All right, but this theorem is one of our theorems, and it's called angle side. Okay. Angle side, you have to watch out because the S is not between the A's. If the S was between the A's, we would get angle side angle. Okay. And so this is extremely similar to angle side angle. It's just that the S is not between the A's. Okay. So we're going to have if two angles and what they're going to call the non-included side, meaning that the side's not between the 2 angles of one triangle congruent to 2 angles, and the non-included side of another triangle, then the triangles are congruent. So I'm going to draw you a picture of 2 triangles. And I'm going to go ahead and mark angle side. So I can pick 2 angles, whichever 2 I want. Okay. And I can pick a side, but the side cannot be between the angles. If it was, then we would get angle side angle. So I could either pick the left side to mark or the right side. All right. But whatever side I pick, let's say I pick the right side, I have to make sure I pick the right side in the other matching picture. All right. If I pick the other one, then that wouldn't work. All right. It's got to match. And this would be a good example of angle side. All right. Just to show you, if I took that side away and I decided to mark this side instead, that side is still not be between the 2 angles, and that would be still angle side. All right. Again, if I mark this side here, then that changes the theorem to angle side angle. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. So again, if you're using this theorem, make sure that the side you mark is not between the A's, because the S is not between the A's in the theorem. All right, going down, it says in each of the following figures, the congruent parts have been marked, and we're going to state whether the marked parts are sufficient to prove that the triangles are congruent. If so, name the method that can be used to prove the triangles are congruent. And right now we will have, and this will be our 4th method. The very first method we learned was side angle side, then angle side angle, then easy one of side side, and now this one, which is angle side. Okay, make sure that you don't get these 2 confused. Right. All right, so in number 1, we'll go ahead and highlight our triangles. And we're going to notice, guys, that they have 2 pairs of parts marked, but we know that they need 3 pairs. Hopefully you remember that these triangles are what we call back to back, and therefore they will share the side QP. Okay, and now if we take a look at what we have, this blue triangle has an angle here, and then the reflexive side. All right, so it has 2 angles with the side not between them, and 2 angles with the side not between them is angle side. Okay, and so these triangles could be proven congruent by that theorem. All right, number 2. Go ahead, if you like that, you can highlight your triangles to see them a little bit better. You can do that. And when you're highlighting, just take a look at how many pairs of parts you have in each one. And hopefully you realize, guys, that you have 2 pairs. Okay, you have this side, The side here that's marked with the tick mark, and you have the right angle because all right angles are 90 degrees, so they're all congruent. Okay. All right. If we take a look, we're missing a pair of parts. However, these triangles are what I call tip to tip. Okay. And when they're tip to tip, they're making that X shape. And so you can see your vertical angles there, angle 2 and angle 3, and those could be marked with arc marks, making another angle. Okay. And so if you take a look at what we have 2 angles with the side not between them. And so we have angle, angle, side again. Okay. Let's take a look at the next picture. In this picture, we have an angle and a side marked. However, we're missing our other pair of parts. But again, these triangles, like the last picture, are what we call tip to tip. And so they have a vertical angle being congruent right there in the middle, okay, which gives you another angle in both triangles. And so if you take a look, we have 2 angles in each one with the side between them. And so these triangles are congruent by the theorem of angle, side, angle. Okay. Number 4. Again, if you like highlighting your triangles to help you see things better, go ahead. Although, as I'm highlighting, what I see marked is what we talked about in the warm-up, where we have 3 angles. And 3 angles, guys, do not ensure that these triangles are congruent, because if you notice, there is no angle, angle, angle in our theorems up above. And so we're going to go ahead and say, guys, that this is not enough information to say these triangles are congruent, because I don't have a theorem that goes with those markings, okay, that makes them congruent. In my next picture, these 2 triangles have 2 pairs of parts marked, but notice they're what we call back-to-back triangles. And when they're back-to-back, they're going to share this EW side. And now once I mark it, they have 3 pairs of sides each. And so this is the easiest theorem to recognize. This is side, 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 which is why those triangles are congruent. In my last picture, we have a triangle with 3 pairs of parts marked. And if we take a look at what is marked in that triangle, I see 2 sides with a 90-degree angle in between the 2 sides and the same markings in the other picture. And so these 2 triangles are congruent by side, angle, side. All right, so hopefully you understand your 4 theorems. All right, and I will see you guys on the next day of notes.